There are places on our planet where reality surpasses any fiction. You may find it hard to believe that there could be a country full of archaeological treasures and natural wonders. A place where uncontacted tribes hide, preserving traditions as surprising as injecting poison into their skin to make themselves strong, having several intimate partners before marriage, swapping partners, or women who fight bare-chested at Christmas with the intention of starting the new year without grudges. In this new video from Uncensored World, we will learn about Peru, a land of contrasts with villages that literally float on water, 7 colored mountains, and natural wonders such as Machu Picchu, one of the most beautiful and impressive places on Earth. Peru, a country that holds one of the greatest enigmas on the planet, the Nazca Lines, gigantic drawings traced in the desert thousands of years ago, so perfect that they can only be seen from the sky, and which still baffle science today. The third largest country in South America with more alpacas than people, a cuisine considered by many to be the best on the planet. Ancient road networks more extensive than those of the ancient Roman Empire, and some of the most dangerous roads on the planet. A nation that contains the highest, and for many most dangerous city in the world, known as La Rinconada, a wild and lawless place where life has little value, and the mere act of breathing can kill you. A territory where brothels mix with pacts with the devil, with the intention of discovering gold and surviving. Pay attention, and don't miss this video, because discovering Peru with Uncensored World will surprise you more than you can imagine. Let's get started. In the heart of South America, where the Andes rise like a wall that seems to divide the sky from the jungle, lies Peru. A country where the geography seems to have been handcrafted by the gods, full of mysteries that defy science. Bordered by Ecuador and Colombia to the north, Brazil to the east, Bolivia to the southeast, Chile to the south, and the Pacific Ocean to the west, Peru covers such a vast area that it is the third largest country in South America, with more than 1.28 million square kilometers. A territory almost as large as France, Germany, and the United Kingdom combined, or comparable in size to Egypt, which gives an idea of the magnitude of this country that encompasses everything from deserts to glaciers, from ancient ruins to jungles where people who have never seen a cell phone or a road still live. Despite its size, Peru's population density is very low, largely because much of the territory is inaccessible, with dense jungles, impassable mountains, and regions where roads do not exist. This geographical difficulty has allowed the country to preserve places of unspoiled beauty, landscapes where nature still reigns, and where dozens of tribes live that have never been contacted by modern civilization. Among the most fascinating wonders that we will discover on this trip, Peru hides villages that float on water, mountains that change color with the sunlight, and a jewel that amazes the whole world: Machu Picchu. It was on July 24, 1911, when American explorer Hiram Bingham ventured into the Andes Mountains in search of ancient lost cities of the Inca Empire. Enveloped by the thick fog of the high jungle, the explorer found something completely unknown to the modern world. Amidst the all-consuming vegetation, the remains of a ruined city emerged, a city of perfectly carved stone that reflected advances unheard of for the time in which it was built. Walls fitted with millimeter precision, agricultural terraces suspended between abysses, and water channels that still functioned despite the passage of centuries. It was the silent vestige of an advanced civilization about which little was known, a hidden enclave that had withstood time, conquest, and nature. That place, covered by fog and protected by the Andean peaks, would later be known as Machu Picchu, a name that in Quechua means Old Mountain, in reference to the hill that shelters it. What Hiram Bingham found that day would forever change the history of Peru and the world. Those ruins, erected at an altitude of more than 2,400 meters, revealed an architectural, astronomical, and spiritual knowledge that still amazes scientists today. Some argue that Machu Picchu was a sacred sanctuary, a point of connection between the gods and the earth. Others believe it was a royal residence of Emperor Pachacutec. There are also those who claim it was an astronomical observatory, where the Incas calculated the solstices and seasons with a precision that defies all logic for its time. What is certain is that its architectural perfection, its inaccessible location, and its profound spiritual symbolism have made it not only one of humanity's most impressive wonders, but also one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. This recognition reinforces its status as an eternal symbol of the greatness of the ancient Inca Empire and of the connection that this people maintained between the earth, the stars, and their gods. With the discovery of Machu Picchu, a network of roads was also revealed that was so extensive that it seemed impossible that a civilization without wheels or iron could have built it. It was the Capac Ñan, or Royal Road of the Incas, a road system of more than 30,000 kilometers that linked the most remote corners of the empire. These roads crossed jungles, deserts, and mountains, connecting cities, temples, and administrative centers. In some sections, the roads were supported by walls of stone carved with millimeter precision. In others, they rose above precipices by means of suspension bridges made of vegetable fiber, renewed year after year by the Andean communities. Spanish chroniclers were amazed by such an engineering feat. They compared these routes to Roman roads, but even they admitted that the roads of Tahuantinsuyo, the Inca Empire, reached places where even European legions would not have dared to advance, noting that they were even longer than those of the ancient Roman Empire. This has a lot to do with the fact that the Inca Empire was undoubtedly the most powerful and organized civilization in all of pre-Columbian America. At its peak, it covered territories that today belong to Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and Colombia, stretching over more than 4,000 kilometers of the Andean mountain range. In fact, from the capital, Cusco, known in ancient times as the navel of the world, the Incas administered their vast empire with an organization comparable to that of Rome, called by Europeans Caput Mundi, the capital of the world. From there, they ran a system where time, labor, and resources were measured with surprising precision. Although they did not use currency, they had developed an economy based on reciprocity and redistribution, a model so efficient that it ensured that no one went hungry, as the state was responsible for providing food, shelter, and protection to its people. For the Incas, the order of the world was based on 3 principles: Amasua, Amalula, Amaquela. Do not steal, do not lie, do not be lazy. Under these rules, they built temples, agricultural terraces, and impossible fortresses, such as Sacsayhuaman, located in the heights surrounding the ancient imperial capital of Cusco. There, enormous stone blocks weighing several tons fit together with millimeter precision, without the use of mortar or metal tools. The perfection of its walls, its lightning bolt shape, and the legends surrounding it have made Sacsayhuaman one of the greatest enigmas of ancient engineering, comparable in mystery to the pyramids of Egypt or the temples of Angkor. Some of these ancient Inca routes may have been traveled by tribes that still preserve ancestral customs, peoples that we will gradually get to know on this trip, and that time seems to have forgotten in the jungles of the Amazon to the point that they have not been contacted. Among these tribes, the Awajun are one of the most fascinating in the country. The Awajun, also known as the Aguarunas, live in the northern jungle of Peru, near the border with Ecuador. They were first contacted in the 1960s, although to this day many of their villages remain isolated, clinging to their language, their myths, and their way of life. Among their traditions is a practice that is as curious as it is extreme. Some men apply small doses of frog venom to their skin to become stronger and more resilient. They believe that this ritual, in addition to purifying the body, gives them courage and energy to hunt and face the challenges of the jungle. Another of their most striking customs takes place during Christmas, a holiday introduced after Spanish colonization and adopted over time by some Awajun communities that were contacted several decades ago. During those days, men and women face each other with bare fists and bare chests before the eyes of the entire village. Strange as it may seem, these fights are not carried out of hatred or revenge, but as a way to release tension, resolve conflicts, and start the new year without grudges. This tradition, which combines honor, courage, and spiritual purification, reflects the way in which the Awajun have managed to fuse their ancient beliefs with the influences of Christianity, giving rise to a ritual that is unique in the world. These cultural expressions are a reflection of the soul of a people that has resisted the passage of time and external influences. The Awajun, like many other ethnic groups in Peru, maintain a deep connection with the earth, with the spirits of the forest, and with the natural cycles that mark their existence. However, over the centuries, these ancestral realities have become interwoven with more modern influences, giving rise to a complex identity in which the impact of colonialism remains visible. Contact with the outside world transformed their way of life, their spirituality, and their relationship with nature, forever altering the balance they had maintained with their environment for millennia. With the arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century, the powerful Inca Empire was subjected to a brutal process of conquest and transformation. Social structures, temples, and ancestral languages were replaced by European religion and organization. The name Peru also has its origins in the Spanish conquest. According to legend, the explorers who arrived here heard from the locals about a ruler or territory called Biru, or Pelu. Over time, the Spanish adapted this name, first as Biru and then as Peru, to refer to the lands we know today. Thus, what began as a reference to a small chieftain became the name of an entire country, showing how European colonizers adopted and transformed indigenous words to designate vast territories that were previously unknown. During the centuries of colonization, this encounter between Europeans and indigenous peoples profoundly transformed both the country's culture and, to a certain extent, the genetics of its inhabitants. Some chroniclers of the colonial era and anthropologists have claimed that the ancient Peruvians were taller, stronger, and more corpulent than later and current generations. In fact, many popular accounts claim that the Incas could reach more than 2 meters in height and possess extraordinary physical strength, qualities that, according to some beliefs, were lost after the genetic mixing that occurred during Spanish colonization. Do you think that the ancient Peruvians and other South American civilizations would have retained their strength, height, and beauty if the Spanish colonists had never arrived? Do you think that Spanish colonization improved or worsened the genetics of these peoples? Pause the video and leave us your comment and a like. It will be great fun to read your opinion, and you know that by doing so, you are helping Uncensored World a lot to create such interesting content every week. Thank you. It is probably difficult to know exactly whether the arrival of the Spanish caused such a drastic change in Peruvian genetics, but modern science tends to rule out such extreme differences. It explains that variations in physical build are more likely due to environmental, nutritional, and health factors, accompanied by the passage of time, than to actual genetic change. The most reliable osteological studies suggest that the average height for men in the Inca period was around 5 feet 4 inches or even slightly less, and for women around 5 feet 0 inches. This height does not seem to have varied greatly, but it was accompanied by what appears to have been enormous strength, as stone axes, reinforced wooden clubs, and ceremonial swords have been found that required a high level of strength and physical endurance, as they weighed dozens of kilograms. This suggests that both Inca men and women were in excellent physical shape for their time, with musculature adapted to life at high altitudes, intensive agricultural work, and the demands of the empire that truly made them one of the most powerful societies of antiquity. Before the arrival of the colonizers, the Tahuantinsuyo, the name the Incas gave to their empire, meaning the 4 regions of the world, had reached a level of organization and power comparable to that of the great civilizations of the ancient world. Its legacy can still be felt in every stone of Cusco, in the terraces that climb the mountains, and in the roads that continue to defy time. Despite the passing of centuries, the spirit of the ancient empire lives on, mixed with the faith, resilience, and identity of a people who never stopped fighting for their origins. And when it comes to resilience, few places represent it better than La Rinconada, a city that seems to defy the limits of human life. Located at an altitude of more than 5,000 meters, it is the highest permanent settlement on the planet, a place where air is scarce, the cold penetrates the bones, and hope is measured in grams of gold. La Rinconada is considered the most dangerous city on the planet, partly because thousands of people risk their lives every day in the frozen mines of the Andes, searching for that shiny metal that springs from the bowels of the earth, and that often ends up devouring their dreams. The name La Rinconada is said to come from its location, in a kind of remote corner of the Andes mountain range. This geographical isolation is part of what makes the city such a mysterious and dangerous place, where life seems to be completely disconnected from the outside world. This infamous city, also known as the lawless city of Peru, is located in the Peruvian Andes, rising imposingly more than 5,100 meters above sea level, making it the highest inhabited city on the planet. This enclave attracts thousands of people every year, seeking the gold that springs from the bowels of the earth, but at a high price. Finding gold here can end your life. Most arrive attracted by the gold rush, willing to face life in the mines in exchange for a chance to change their destiny. But what seems like paradise to some is a death trap for many others. The city, built haphazardly and without planning, is a network of narrow streets, precarious dwellings, and vibrantly colored houses that contrast with the arid and desolate landscape. To get there, the journey begins in Lima, the capital of Peru, and then heads to Puno, at an altitude of 3,800 meters, where travelers must acclimatize to avoid altitude sickness. As you will see, if you are not careful and travel to La Rinconada, the mere act of breathing could end your life. That is why adapting to such high altitudes is not easy. The reason is that in La Rinconada, the air has less than half the oxygen at sea level, and the simple act of breathing, as I mentioned, can become a deadly challenge. Without proper preparation, the human body can begin to experience serious problems, from headaches and nausea to respiratory failure. Without the right equipment, such as blood oxygen meters or oxygen tanks, life here can be a real challenge, and many of us would succumb to the effects of altitude in a short time. During the ascent to La Rinconada, conditions become increasingly extreme. Snow covers the ground, and as you advance, the altitude causes headaches and an alarming drop in oxygen levels. A very important fact that every visitor should know is that if blood oxygen levels fall below 85%, the risk of respiratory arrest or brain damage increases significantly. This figure is crucial for survival, as any drop below that threshold endangers the life of anyone, even those who have lived at high altitudes for years. Many who arrive here, aware of the mortal risk they face, prefer to be escorted by the police to avoid being attacked by locals, who see outsiders as easy prey in this hostile environment. Without adequate oxygen levels, extreme fatigue, dizziness, and loss of consciousness are common, making La Rinconada a deadly place for those who do not take the necessary precautions. Local residents who are already accustomed to these extreme conditions have traditional methods to counteract the effects of altitude sickness. You might think that long-term residents of La Rinconada are safe, but this is not the case either. As people adapt to the lack of oxygen, their bodies tend to produce more red blood cells to compensate for the low amount of oxygen in the air. This process can spiral out of control and lead to a condition called Monge's disease, due to this excessive increase in red blood cells, which can cause serious problems in the cardiovascular system, such as pulmonary hypertension and heart failure, and can lead to fatal complications if not treated in time. That is why here, both those who arrive and those who reside live with a constant danger lurking over them, as if they were walking on a minefield. But the danger of La Rinconada is not only in the lack of oxygen, far from it. The streets, although bustling with activity, are extremely dangerous. Here, human trafficking, theft, and violence are constant, while the lives of the inhabitants depend on mining, which is also potentially deadly in clandestine transactions. La Rinconada is plunged into an atmosphere of uncertainty, marked by the gold trade, but also by the dark secrets that lurk in the shadows. In the mines of La Rinconada, workers risk their lives with no guarantee of success. Some go more than a month without pay, hoping that their last day of work will be the day they can keep what they find, due to a system known as el cachorreo. This work system is one of the most controversial aspects of life in this city. Miners, who arrive with the hope of changing their destiny, often have to work between 20 and 30 days without receiving any pay in order to be accepted. The last day of work is what determines whether the effort has been worthwhile, but in many cases, there is no gold to be found. Some miners spend weeks digging without success, and others do not even have the opportunity to collect what they manage to discover. The system, which depends entirely on luck, creates great uncertainty and despair, fueled by the greed of those who control the mines. The name cachorreo comes from the analogy with puppies waiting, not knowing if they will receive anything in return. It is a word that reflects the suffering and uncertainty of these miners, who are trapped in a cycle of unrewarded labor. Sometimes employers take advantage of this situation to further exploit workers, as the cachorreo system can be manipulated in their favor. If no gold is found, or if the boss decides that no more work can be done that day, the miners receive nothing, which makes their situation even worse and fuels their desperation. But in addition to the difficulties of adaptation, in this city of darkness and dust, there are no governments or laws to regulate activities, giving rise to a reality based on violence, fear, and unregulated competition. In La Rinconada, gold is king and risk is the price to pay for access to it. That is why, every week, it is not unusual for tragedies of all kinds to occur in this bleak and desolate place. To reach the highest city on the planet, you have to travel along one of the most dangerous roads in the world. The ascent to an altitude of more than 5,000 meters is made along narrow dirt roads that wind between snow-capped mountains, precipices without guardrails, and stretches where a single wrong maneuver can mean the end. On these trails, the air becomes thin, the cold penetrates your bones, and danger mixes with the feeling of traveling through a territory forgotten by time, raising clouds of dust or sliding over sheets of ice that threaten to throw you into the void. These routes were formerly mining roads, blasted open with dynamite on the Andean slopes. Today they remain the only access route to La Rinconada, crossing passes that exceed 4,800 meters above sea level. Landslides often block the road for hours, and drivers must wait in temperatures that drop to 15 degrees below zero, while altitude sickness causes their heads to throb and their vision to blur. The sections connecting Puno, Juliaca, and Ananea with La Rinconada are considered veritable hells of asphalt and stone. Many consider this road, known as the access to La Rinconada, to be the most dangerous in the world, due to its nearly 9 kilometers of sharp curves that wind at an altitude of more than 5,000 meters, an unpaved road with a single lane in both directions, where vehicles must maneuver on the edge of seemingly endless precipices. Accidents are frequent, and rescues are almost impossible. Many travelers say that just looking out the window is enough to make them feel dizzy. On one side, the rock wall. On the other, an abyss hundreds of meters deep. In the rainy season, mud engulfs vehicles, and ice on the coldest nights turns the road into a death trap. Thus, those who arrive by car or truck and manage to reach La Rinconada after hours of tension feel that they have survived a test imposed by the mountain, but they still do not know what awaits them. Due to the reality and danger of this place, once in La Rinconada, it is said that many people perform cults and pacts with dark forces. It is believed that some of the miners, desperate to get rich quickly, resort to black magic to obtain the coveted gold. These cults create rituals by candlelight, invoking evil entities in exchange for dark favors. Some miners claim to have heard strange whispers on the darkest nights, voices coming from the depths of the earth, as if the devil himself were guiding their hands toward the gold. Others claim to have seen shadowy figures in the mines, a presence that takes away those who dare to defy the pact. No one dares to go too far into the mine without the protection of amulets or prayers, as superstition is as strong as the need to find gold. In La Rinconada, dark cults and practices are not limited to rituals with the devil. A particularly peculiar cult feared by the inhabitants is that of Los Abuelos, the grandfathers. These figures, gloomy-looking statues dressed in miners' clothes, are venerated by the locals in the hope that they will grant them protection and luck in the mine. It is believed that the grandfathers are ancient spirits who, at one time, were among the workers searching for gold in the depths of the earth, and now their spirits are trapped in these stone figures. Over time, the statues have become symbols of power, and each miner offers them gifts to ask for favors or to thank them for their luck in the mines. These practices reflect a mixture of desperation, superstition, and the tireless search for gold. However, the figure that instills the most fear among the workers in the corner is that of the uncle, a demonic-looking idol that is said to be found deep in the mines. This being is considered the owner of the gold, and it is believed that his spirit manifests itself to protect the treasures from the unwary who seek riches without respecting the rules of the place. Miners offer him tributes, usually alcohol or cigarettes, in exchange for his benevolence. All of this is part of the cycle of life in La Rinconada, where the search for gold is intertwined with the dark legends that lurk in the shadows, and the line between reality and the supernatural becomes blurred. The people here, in their desperation and daily struggle to survive, cling to these myths and cults as a way to find some kind of control in such a wild and unpredictable world. The human body is not designed to withstand these conditions, but the promise of gold and the desperation to find it makes workers willing to sacrifice their health, their well-being, and even their lives for a dream that many will never see fulfilled. Each mine is a small empire controlled by an owner, and entering without their permission can mean death. The signs at the mine entrances are clear. You will be shot if you stop or trespass on private property. Most people who come to La Rinconada do not stay here permanently, but work in intervals, alternating between the mines and other jobs in an attempt to earn some money. Taxi drivers, for example, are nothing more than miners in their spare time, looking for any kind of income to survive. The question that arises when thinking about this place is, why would anyone continue to live in such an environment? The answer, though bitter, is simple. Poverty and despair are so deep that for many, La Rinconada represents the only chance of survival. In a world and a country where opportunities are few and the hope for a better life is fading, gold is seen as the last golden hope. This place reminds us that there are realities in the world so harsh that, if it weren't for the circumstances into which we are born, any of us might be tempted to ascend to places as dangerous as La Rinconada, hoping to find something that would allow us to escape a present life with no future. If you enjoyed learning about La Rinconada, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to Uncensored World if you haven't already. We'd love to know that you liked the documentary. And as you can see, here you'll discover the world like nowhere else. But Peru is not all danger, impossible heights and archaeological mysteries. It is also a country that conquers the palate. In fact, many gastronomic experts agree that Peru has one of the best cuisines in the world, a perfect fusion of ancient tradition, local products, and the heritage of the cultures that arrived after colonization. Its secret lies in its diversity. More than 3,000 varieties of potatoes, hundreds of types of corn, exotic fruits that only grow in the Andes or the Amazon, and culinary techniques that combine the ancestral with the modern. It is no coincidence that Peru has been named the best culinary destination on the planet on numerous occasions by the World Travel Awards. Among its most emblematic dishes is ceviche, an explosion of freshness that encapsulates the essence of the country. Prepared with white fish marinated in lemon juice, red onion, chili pepper, and cilantro, Ceviche represents Peru's connection to the Pacific Ocean and its respect for natural products. In Lima, especially in the neighborhoods of Miraflores or Barranco, you can find some of the best ceviches in the world, served with chulpe corn and sweet potato, as tradition dictates. Another of its great gastronomic treasures is lomo saltado, a dish that reflects the influence of Chinese cuisine on Peruvian culture. Sautéed beef with onion, tomato, yellow chili pepper, and French fries, served with white rice. A mixture of aromas and flavors that symbolizes the union between East and West in a single bite. Today, Lima has become the gastronomic capital of South America, home to world-renowned restaurants such as Central and Maido, considered among the best on the planet. But what is most fascinating is that in every corner of the country, from a small stall in Cusco to a fonda in the Amazon rainforest, you can taste a piece of the soul of Peru. A delight on land that can also be tasted in one of the most beautiful and fascinating regions of the country, and probably the planet. The floating villages of the Uros. This place seems like something out of a dream. At an altitude of more than 3,800 meters, on the blue and cold waters of Lake Titicaca, lives a community that has learned to coexist with the water, the wind, and the silence of the mountains. The floating islands of the Uros are not made of earth or stone, but of totora, an aquatic plant that grows in abundance in this lake in which they have turned into the essential material of their lives. The Uros are an ancient people who inhabited this region long before the arrival of the Incas. To escape their enemies and survive in a hostile environment, they built their islands on the water, a mobile and safe refuge that protected them from both attacks and droughts. Each island is made up of overlapping layers of totora reeds that must be constantly renewed as the lower part rots over time. This continuous work shapes a living architecture, a village that floats and breathes on the highest lake in the world. Walking on these islands is like walking on a soft carpet that moves under your feet. The houses, boats, and even the watchtowers are made of the same golden material that glitters in the sunlight, creating a landscape as beautiful as it is surreal. The Uros live mainly from fishing, bird hunting, and tourism, although they retain many of their traditions, their language, and their simple lifestyle, in harmony with nature. A fascinating curiosity is that their boats, called caballitos de totora, are also made from this plant and can withstand the weight of several people as they sail the waters of Titicaca. In the past, the Uros people traveled between islands or traded with other communities, sailing for hours on these fragile but resistant rafts. From the air, the islands look like small golden spots floating on an infinite blue mirror, one of the most magical and photogenic landscapes on the planet. Today, visiting the Uros Islands is not only about contemplating a natural wonder, but also witnessing how an entire people has turned adaptation into art, an art that is also reflected in other ancestral tribes in Peru, many of which have had little contact with the rest of humanity. Experts estimate that there are more than 15 uncontacted tribes in the Peruvian Amazon rainforest. Information confirmed by satellite images, scientific expedition records, and testimonies from neighboring communities that maintain some contact with them. These tribes preserve practices and rituals that may seem strange or controversial from a Western perspective, but which have deep cultural and social significance for them. Among these societies, the Awajun, also known as the Aguaruna, warriors of the Amazon, stand out. They are a people renowned for their bravery and for maintaining ancestral rituals related to war and virility. In the past, they carried out ritual decapitations of enemies as part of their codes of honor, an act that for them symbolized the defense of the community and the preservation of justice within their territory. Within Awajun society, women play fundamental roles. Not only do they actively participate in social life, but they also decide whether a man deserves to be considered a warrior or not, and even have the authority to initiate the separation of a couple if they deem it necessary. Their intimate culture is also very egalitarian, as Awajun women can have several partners before marriage without social stigma, reflecting a deep respect for individual freedom and equality within this ancestral community. Apart from this tribe, the Matses are another lost Amazonian tribe that practices rituals of physical and spiritual resistance that can be shocking to those unfamiliar with their context. Members of this tribe apply frog venom known as cambo to their skin to purify the body and make it stronger, an ancestral practice they consider essential for health and balance. In addition, they use facial tattoos that mimic the appearance of jaguars, symbols of strength and protection. During certain rites of passage, men and women must pass physical and social tests that demonstrate their maturity and ability to contribute to the community, including traditional fertility practices. Among these, some rituals involve the exchange of partners before marriage, a custom that for them has a meaning of learning and preparation for adulthood, ensuring the continuity of the lineage and reinforcing the union within the tribe. What may seem extreme or surprising to an outside observer actually has a very clear meaning for these communities: to strengthen the body, test courage, protect the tribe, and keep alive the traditions that ensure social unity and survival in an environment as demanding as the Amazon rainforest. But most of the practices of these and other uncontacted tribes remain a mystery to science, an enigma that will only be revealed little by little as they become known. Although many of these societies probably prefer to remain hidden in the depths of the jungle, a mystery reminiscent of one of the most enigmatic places on Earth, the Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines are geoglyphs, enormous figures, some several kilometers long, drawn directly on the ground, found in the Jumana Pampas in the Nazca Desert in Peru. They were created by the Nazca culture around the year 600, and to this day, their exact purpose remains a mystery. More than 150 figures have been found in the Nazca Lines, representing animals, humans, and geometric shapes, accompanied by hundreds of straight lines that stretch across the desert. In some cases, these figures are more than 2 meters thick. What is truly amazing is that they can only be seen in their entirety from the sky, which has given rise to numerous esoteric and speculative theories, as it is difficult to imagine how they were created with such geometric perfection, without modern means such as helicopters or airplanes. However, from certain nearby hills and elevations, it is possible to partially distinguish them, revealing an enigma that continues to fascinate the world. Thanks to archaeological findings, we know that the Nazca people used simple tools and removed piles of reddish stones from the surface, exposing a different colored yellowish earth, and thus traced the figures. The extremely dry desert climate, with almost no rainfall, has allowed these geoglyphs to remain intact for centuries, while ground-level winds prevent the sand from covering them. It is believed that the Nazca people used a scaling method that would be familiar in schools today. First, they made a small drawing within a grid with stakes and strings, and then transferred those proportions to the desert, with strings stretched across the ground, removing pebbles according to the grid markings. The exact meaning of these lines remains a mystery. Initially, it was thought that they could be simple paths, but they have also been attributed a religious meaning, and some researchers suggest that they functioned as a giant astronomical calendar, aligning certain figures with celestial objects at specific times of the year. It is an enigma that continues to fascinate the world, and one that we still hope to one day uncover all its secrets. If you've made it this far, you're probably interested in finding out how to visit and enjoy Peru to the fullest. A fascinating country full of history, culture, breathtaking landscapes, and unique traditions. That's why we at Uncensored World have done our research and brought you the best information to make your trip unforgettable. To get to Peru from Mexico, the United States, or Europe, the most practical way is to fly to Lima, the capital. There are direct flights from Mexico City, New York, Miami, Madrid, and other major cities. Depending on your country of origin, many tourists do not need a visa for short stays. For example, citizens of Mexico, the United States, and most European countries can enter Peru without a visa for up to 90 days, just by presenting a valid passport. Once in Peru, getting around the country is relatively easy. You can opt for domestic flights for long journeys. such as Lima to Cusco or Arequipa, or travel by long-distance bus between major cities. Taxis and apps such as Uber are very common in large cities, while for tourist areas it is often convenient to hire local tours. Peru is not an overly expensive country, which is a great incentive for travelers. For example, a 3-star hotel for 2 people can cost around $30 to $40 per night, while a typical Peruvian dinner for 2 in a standard restaurant costs around $20 to $30. And in one of the best restaurants in the country, such as those mentioned above, dinner for 2 can cost between $50 and $80. In terms of safety, Peru is generally a safe country for tourists, but precautions should be taken in certain extreme or remote locations, such as La Rinconada, where the risk comes from both the extreme climate and the lack of infrastructure and laws. Places such as some areas of Lima or Arequipa also require attention to personal belongings, and it is always advisable to find out more before visiting some remote areas of the country. If you want to visit Machu Picchu, the usual route is to fly to Cusco, and from there take a train to Aguascalientes, the base town for climbing up to the Inca Citadel. Tour prices vary, but a basic package including transportation and admission usually costs between $50 and $100 per person. To visit the floating villages of the Uros on Lake Titicaca, you must first reach the city of Puno, located in southeastern Peru, accessible by plane from Lima, Arequipa, or Cusco, or by bus from various cities in the country. From Puno, there are numerous boat tours to the Uros Islands, which include a guide and transportation. Prices range from $30 to $50 per person. In the case of the Nazca Lines, you can get there from Lima by taking a bus or a domestic flight to the city of Nazca. Once there are 2 main options for touring the geoglyphs: air tours by light aircraft, which allow you to see the complete figures from the sky at an approximate cost of $50 to $90 per person, and land tours, which allow you to visit the viewpoints and see part of the geoglyphs at a cost of $30 to $40 per person. Both excursions are run by reliable tour operators and are the easiest and safest way to visit these iconic sites in Peru. We hope that after this fascinating journey, and with this information, you can plan your trip comfortably and safely to take advantage of the cultural and natural wonders of this magical country and enjoy a complete experience that combines history, gastronomy, and adventure. We hope that this tour of Peru has been as interesting for you as it has been for us. With that in mind, and considering the effort that goes into making these videos, if you have enjoyed this video and are not yet subscribed to Uncensored World, don't wait any longer and do so now by activating the bell so you don't miss the fascinating videos we make every week. If this trip has surprised you, get ready to continue exploring other incredible corners of the planet. Don't miss our next video and delve into the hidden wonders that this place has in store for you.